New audiobooks on our channel for free every week. Subscribe and click on the bell to not miss.
Robert Allen. Multiple Sources of Income. The text is read by Victor Bobkoff. Dear listener, over the past 20 years, through my best-selling books and seminars aimed at an international audience, I have taught thousands of people how to achieve financial freedom. In this book, I will talk about how to secure income streams in the plural. More specifically, you will learn 10 additional ways to make money. I must warn you that we are talking about unusual sources of income. You will learn how to provide yourself with side or residuals, that is, a permanent income that rushes to you 24 hours a day. Even when you are sleeping. You will learn how to create additional income streams without spending a lot of time on it, working within the walls of your own home, spending little or zero of your own money, making do with a small or zero number of employees, using simple but time-tested systems. Also, I'll tell you how. Control your finances, ensure high percentages of profits, 18, 36, up to 50%, using little-known financial strategies. Moreover, in some cases your success will be guaranteed by the government itself. Earn at least $1,000 a day doing business at home. Provide yourself with from $50,000 to $100,000 of additional income per year. To become, perhaps, a millionaire during his lifetime. What will it give you in the end? A lifestyle where you will be free to do anything, anywhere and with anyone. One Spanish proverb very accurately expresses the essence of such a lifestyle: health, and money, and love, and time to enjoy them. If you like such a goal, let's work together to ensure that you find it all and not too late. With best wishes, your mentor in Money Matters, Robert Allen. Introduction. I have come to you with good and bad news. I'll start with a good one. If you are an average North American citizen earning at least $25,000 a year, then more than $1 million passes through your hands in your lifetime. That's a lot of money. In other words, you are potentially capable of becoming a millionaire during your lifetime. Now the bad news. If you belong to the majority of people, then you will spend everything completely. And after many years of making money, you will be left with almost nothing. You may ask, how can this be? To tell the truth, we are not taught how to handle money. In other words, we do not receive formal education in the most, one might say, critically important area of our knowledge about life. Knowledge about how to achieve material success. Have you ever met a course called Money, a complete practical course in all your years of study? Why, the question is, not to make it mandatory, starting from elementary school? How do we even know about money? It's like we're picking up crumbs of knowledge. Pocket money is here, tips are there. Parents, as a rule, teach us only the general attitude to money. At a more mature age, we learn about financial transactions mostly from the press. We learn from the examples of friends, explore through trial and error, going through a harsh school of experience. Much of what we have learned is random, being mostly erroneous or unrelated to real life. The books you read on this subject are most likely too complicated for you, full of indigestible details or boring facts. If you belong to the majority, then this topic will not seem entertaining to you, but will only cause dissatisfaction with yourself and confusion in your thoughts. But money is one of the most important aspects of any person's life. Many of the joys of life and its greatest disappointments stem from how skillfully a person manages his money. Will you find peace of mind for the rest of your days, or will you live in constant anxiety? It will depend on your ability to control your finances. The material side of life is reflected in how your relationships with people around you develop. Suffice it to say that the reason for most divorces are disputes over money. Understanding money, how to earn it and take care of it, is of great importance for your life, your relationships with loved ones, your happiness and a peaceful future. Be that as it may, there is a kind of people who seem to have a natural instinct about how to properly manage money. The same $1 million flows through their fingers for a lifetime, but they know how to save some part of it and even multiply it, in some cases 100-fold compared to the average person. Do these people work 100 times more? Or are they 100 times smarter? Of course not. They just know the rules of the game. You see, money is a game. And very important for us. If you know how to play, you win. If you don't know, you are doomed to lose. As the prominent physician George David said, wealth is when big results are worth small efforts. Poverty is when the greatest efforts lead to insignificant results. From this book you will finally learn how to play a game called money and win. Following the simple principles outlined here, you will ensure yourself a lifetime of financial prosperity and an economically prosperous old age. You will master a simple system for managing your own finances. Learn how to invest your available financial surpluses and at the same time sleep soundly at night. You will learn how to secure multiple income streams for the rest of your life. And learn how to evaluate your growing financial empire, spending no more than 10 minutes a day on it. You will also be able to financially secure a prosperous future for your children and loved ones. You may have a question about how qualified I am to be your mentor. It all started with me in the 70s, as, perhaps, with you with a dream of financial well-being. After graduating from Brigham Youth University in 1974 and receiving a master's degree in business and management, I began investing in small venture real estate transactions. And, starting with a tiny business, he made a multimillion-dollar capital in this area in just a couple of years. I went through a lot of troubles on the way to success. I not only earned millions, but also lost them, then returned them again. I know from harsh experience what is effective and what is useless when it comes to ways of making money. I popularized my knowledge in the best, according to the New York Times bestseller Zero Advance, a life-tested system of real estate transactions with little or no cash advance. This book has become a classic textbook on real estate investment for beginners. I am also the author of 2 other bestsellers, How to Get Rich, the #1 bestseller according to the New York Times reviewers, as well as The Trial. While promoting the last book, I made a bold statement: send me to the employment center. Let me choose someone from the visitors of the center who cannot find a job and has already lost hope. In 2 days, I will reveal the secrets of success to him. And in 90 days they will be firmly on their feet, putting at least $5,000 into their bank account and never again think about returning to the ranks of the unemployed. The book Trial is a real story about how I chose 3 people from among the unemployed in St. Louis, Missouri, and taught them the secrets of financial success. And indeed, they were able to achieve incredible success in just 90 days. One married couple earned more than $100,000 over the next 12 months. In recognition of their success, I invited this couple to the TV show Good Morning America. What I'm going to share with you in this book was the result of my communication, both in the process of work and in my spare time, with thousands of successful people for more than 20 years. I happen to know people who turned from homeless into owners of mansions, from taxi drivers into owners of luxury limousines with a personal chauffeur. Although my most famous book is mainly devoted to investing in real estate, the one you are listening to now will tell you how to achieve prosperity in more than one way and secure multiple income streams. There are 3 great mountains that embody the potential of human material prosperity. I call them money mountains. Each of them is different from the others, but at the same time there is something in common in all of them. These are the mountain of investment, the mountain of real estate, and the mountain of marketing. At least 10 separate streams originate from these mountains of money, representing your income flowing into a single lake of growing prosperity. I have clearly defined each such flow using the money tree formula. In this book, I will introduce you to the 9 main characteristics of a theoretically ideal income stream. Then I will teach you how to profit from each source of enrichment discussed in the book. Your goal will be to add at least one additional source of income to those you already have every year. Over time, these income streams will fill your life with material prosperity and provide you with financial freedom. The first question that people ask about the above so far is, why multiple income streams? The wisdom underlying the principle of multiple income streams. How many sources of income did a family need in the 50s to survive? 1. Today, only a small number of families are able to survive, relying on less than 2 sources. But even that won't be enough in the future. The future promises to be unpredictable. Therefore, it would be wise for you to stock up on more than one source of income. It has always been clear to successful people like the Lord's Day, when one source runs out, there are many others that provide them with prosperity. Ordinary people are much more vulnerable in this regard. Having lost one of the sources, they lose in the magnitude of their wealth. And it sometimes takes many years to restore it to the previous level. In the future, you will need a portfolio of income sources, not 1 or 2, but many cash flows from different sources, so that when one of the sources runs out, you almost do not feel it. Your wealth is stable. You have time to fix everything, you feel safe. Do you have enough sources of income at the moment? Perhaps it's time to add at least one new one to the existing ones. In this book, I will teach you practical strategies and skills that will allow you to gain 10 independent sources of income. But first of all, let's ensure that the flows of funds flowing into your pockets are created on the basis of correct and sound financial principles.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the new items.
Chapter 1: The greatest mathematical discovery of all time is the compound interest formula. Albert Einstein is easy money. Financial freedom for $1 a day. It all starts with a simple monetary unit. In the United States of America, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong and New Zealand, it is the dollar; in the UK, the pound sterling; in Switzerland, the franc; in France, in Germany, the euro; in Japan, the yen. Whatever country you live in, take your wallet out of your pocket right now. Extract from it a piece of paper with a value of 1 unit of your national currency and carefully examine it. Rub, feel, and now bring it to your nose. Does money smell? Carefully examine the image on the banknote. Pay attention to the serial number. Now turn it over. Explore the strange signs printed on the banknote. What can they mean? Imagine that you are looking at a surface covered with protective equipment through a microscope. Try to see and read every word printed on the banknote. The piece of paper you're holding in your hands doesn't look particularly valuable, does it? Inflation reduces its real value on a daily basis. What if you spend it on the same trifle as she herself? Lost? Or was it thrown away altogether? Wait, however, a minute. Could it be that this paper money sign is worth more than can be inferred from a simple glance at it? Could this be your magic ticket to a more luxurious life, when you can live anywhere, do anything and have any material goods? One thing is for sure: what feelings people have for such pieces of paper is almost the main condition for whether they will be able to find prosperity in life. To turn it, figuratively speaking, into a continuous banquet when doing well. I promise you that after listening to this chapter, you will never look at money the same way again. Never. You see, successful people do not perceive money simply as colored pieces of paper with images of long-dead people. They perceive them as seeds, money seeds, with a life force that can turn them into money trees, the fruits of which will satisfy the wildest dreams. And in this attitude to money, successful people are absolutely right. Every dollar is a money seed. Just as a tiny acorn contains within itself the power to turn it into a huge oak, each $1 bill has the potential to grow into a prolific money tree. You are able to grow at least one such tree for just $1 a day. Can you afford such an expense? And in jest, and seriously. Fear disappears as you take actions to achieve the goals that are truly desired for you. Robert Allen. If you follow the tips outlined in this book, you will soon become the owner of your own majestic money tree, growing exactly in the middle of the living room of your dream home. Just imagine such a picture. The branches of your money tree run like ivy across the ceiling in all directions and penetrate into all rooms of your house. On each branch, with an interval of about half a meter, fruits ripen, which, having reached maturity, open with a sound like a shot of a champagne cork, once or twice a day, bursting into crisp $100 bills. Falling from the tree, the banknotes fall into the harvest baskets placed around the house. All night long you hear the sounds of popping, popping, popping of opening, ripe fruits. You might think that these incessant sounds will prevent you from sleeping at night, but in fact they will lull you to sleep. Your money tree will bear fruit 24 hours a day. When you're sleeping, when you're at work, when you're watching TV or eating. It never ceases to bear fruit. Endless cash flow. Whenever you need money, you just take how much you need from one of the baskets. Well, quite imagined. By destroying an acorn, you will thereby cause death a tree that could grow out of it. Whenever you unwisely spend one of the pieces of paper representing banknotes, it also leads to the death of a potential money tree. That's why it's so important to protect the money seeds. See Figure 1.1. So after all, what is the true value of any of these seeds? It depends on how long you will grow a money tree from it and at what speed its growth will be carried out. Suppose you took a $1 bill and put it into a special bank account that will allow the corresponding money supply to grow without being affected by taxes and other mandatory payments. How long will it take for a $1 bill to grow into $1 million? It depends on the interest rate on the deposit that the bank account will provide. If it is akin to ordinary bank accounts, it will take a very long time before the required amount is received. Let's imagine how long it takes $1 to turn into $1 million at different interest rates. Look at the 1.1 table. As you can see, a 3% prefix will take 468 years for a single dollar to turn into $1 million. What? I hope you're not going to live 468 years. Relax. We haven't finished with our $1 bill yet. We need to accelerate its growth. How to achieve this? Instead of planting just one seed, sitting and waiting, is it possible to plant one at a time, but more often? Can you afford $1 a day for these needs? It's only $30 a month. Of course you can. Table 1.2 shows how many years it will take to grow $1 million by planting $1 a day, again at different interest rates. Wow! $1 a day may well provide you with an income equal to $1 million during your lifetime, with its average duration in a person. Suppose you started depositing $1 a day into your bank account, starting from the day you were born. Table 1.3 shows what the amount in your account would be at the time when you would have turned 66 years old. By spending $1 a day, you can grow $1 billion capital by the time you retire. It's a whole forest of money trees. Yes, you are a real rose pen in its infancy. And why does this become possible? The power of compound interest makes an insignificant amount invested properly, every day, turn into a huge capital. No wonder Einstein himself said, the most outstanding discovery of man is compound interest. But suppose you don't want to wait 66 years. Well, there is another way to speed up the savings growth process. Could you plant 2 or 3 seeds a day instead of 1? Again? And 10? Will it be tangible for you? Okay, let's put it another way. If you start investing 10 measly bucks every day in a good mutual investment fund, either in stocks or in real estate, and if you could achieve at least 20% income, you would become a millionaire in some 20 years. Well, does it make an impression? I can already hear the voices of skeptics. No one can achieve a stable 20% income for 20 years in a row. It's impossible. Well, Warren Buffett, the genius of the stock exchange, has managed it for more than 40 years in a row. When you finish listening to this book, you will know that it is not only entirely within your power, but is available to anyone who has discipline and quite modest knowledge and skills in the field of financial planning. You don't need to be a financial genius to do this. You don't need to own a large company. You are able to achieve this by sitting right in the kitchen, using the money that you are now throwing away just to the wind. All you have to do is channel a small portion of the currently unwisely used funds into well-planned investments, and you will achieve financial success. I bet that from now on you will think hard before it is useless to spend one of the green papers called money. It's like throwing $1 million seed of a money tree into the trash. Every time you invest in a profitable enterprise or put one of the money seeds on a savings deposit, you sow your future pasture of financial prosperity. The main purpose of this chapter is to change your attitude to money in general and in particular to the very $1 bills with which we started. I don't have a shadow of a doubt that I can save $30 a month for a case, even if you have the most meager budget. Over time, you will certainly want to increase this amount to $100, $200, $300 or more dollars per month. The greater the amount of funds used for the future, the better. The more it goes for the future, the faster your wealth will grow. So, how much do you think you could save and invest on a daily basis? From the 1.4 table and the 1.1 graph, it can be seen how a daily contribution of only a few dollars can turn into around some $1 million. How to earn an extra million during your lifetime. The most effective way is to save money and immediately invest it in a profitable place. Trust the numbers, and let the rustle of the money you put aside become a quiet but sweet song about future prosperity. Show perseverance. Day after day, postpone, invest, postpone, invest. This activity may seem boring. The wait can be tedious. It may just be difficult for you to do it. Nothing. Just do it day after day. I knew a young man from Chicago who decided to secure a bright future for himself by reducing the costs of his current needs, undertaking, so to speak, to moderate his desires and appetites. He worked full-time, as did his wife. If they were a typical young, that is, an eternally needy married couple, they would put together what they earned. As a result, they would buy a new car with a tidy monthly payment to repay the loan. They would move into a large and, accordingly, unaffordable house, after which they would survive as best they could for the next 30 years. But they chose a very correct path. They lived on what their wife earned, and saved all of her husband's earnings, which amounted to $2,000 a month. They invested this money in reliable mutual funds and only watched as they acquired solid interest. This, in my understanding, is true prosperity. And in jest, and seriously, the only place where success precedes work is the dictionary. Saw Sason. Our parents were right. Many of us in our youth grimaced with displeasure when they taught us, you live less than you earn. Put the surplus into circulation, providing them with a percentage increase. Don't get into debt. Think about what your financial situation will be on the threshold of old age. This may not be the policy of a rabbit tail turn in money turnover. But the turtle laughs the last, having finally reached the water. So, taking such a turtle installation as a solid foundation, we will begin to build some concrete plans for the future. Setting specific and realistic financial goals. First of all, you need to decide on the following 5 questions related to how best to use your money seeds. Goal: what is the total amount of savings you would like to achieve? Funds: how many dollars a day could you allocate for these needs from your budget? The bid: what interest rate do you expect when giving money in percentage growth? The deadline: by what time would you like to achieve your goal? Purpose: what is the ultimate purpose of your financial enterprise? Suppose, for example, that you decide, as they say, to hatch an egg worth $1 million for 20 years. You started all this in order to get the opportunity to stop working and devote yourself to working with young people in the local parish. According to Table 1.5, one possible way for you would be to invest $10 a day at 20% per annum to achieve this goal. The goal is $1 million, the funds are $10 a day. The rate is 20%, the term is 20 years, the purpose is to work with young people in the church. And in jest, and seriously, Baron Rothschild was once asked to name the 7 wonders of the world. He replied, I find it difficult, but I know that the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. Now I would like you to use the 1.5 table to develop a realistic scenario for the growth of your wealth. Use the form below to do this, filling it out with clear financial goals. Be sure to think carefully about the following questions. What exactly do I need this money for? What is my main goal? Your financial enterprise will be much more successful and morally justified if your efforts pursue a clear goal. If it all comes down to just making a lot of money, then one fine morning you can wake up with a round sum in your bank account and ask yourself, maybe enough is enough, eh? Form for setting a financial goal. The first question is, what is my ultimate investment goal? The second question is, how much money can I invest daily? The third question is, how long am I going to invest? The fourth question is, what is my target interest rate? The fifth question is, why is it important for me to achieve my goal? The sooner you get down to business, the sooner you will become richer. But, gentlemen, just a moment. Isn't everything too smooth? A few dollars a day and you're a millionaire? If it's so simple, why aren't we all millionaires anymore? Well, the thing is, we could all really become millionaires. But most of us lack the basic discipline to make small daily deposits for a long time. And then, of course, most of us are simply slow, not daring to get down to business. Let me show you the colossal price we pay for procrastinating. Let's assume that you have enough discipline to contribute $200 a month, about $7 a day at interest for 20 years, being able to count on a profit of 20% per annum. How much would you collect during this period? My calculator says that $200 of a monthly deposit at 20% per annum over 20 years will lead to the accumulation of an amount equal to $632,000. Not bad. And in jest, and seriously. How did it even happen that the fool had money? Now let's say that instead of starting immediately, you decided to wait until next year. As a result, you will have 19 years left for everything instead of the planned 20. This time, my calculator says that after these 19 years, you will have only $516,000 in your account. That's $116,000 less than you would have had if you had started on time. In other words, a delay of a year's length cost you the sum of $116,000 in future dollars. Procrastination is expensive. For each of the 365 days that you have been sitting, your future portfolio with money has lost $300. In other words, every day of delay costs you $300 or $13 an hour, or round the clock. And what if you put the same $200 monthly at interest, but for 30 years? The price of a one-year delay would now be a staggering $842,803. Wasting 1 year would cost you almost $1 million. That's more than $2,000 a day, or almost $100 an hour. A day of delay. An hour of procrastination is akin to if you are slowly burning your future wealth. Get started immediately and act on a regular basis. One important word is constancy. The amount of money invested is not as important as the consistency of your investments over a long time. If you miss a payment once or twice, it's no big deal. But let me tell you what will happen if you start the business in earnest. Let's assume again that you would find an opportunity to put $200 a month at 20% per annum for 20 years. During the first few months everything goes smoothly, you successfully find money for a deposit, and then you come across an ad in the newspaper offering a new car on favorable terms. To afford a car, you decide to reduce the deposit from $200 to $100 a month. In 20 years, instead of $632,000 in a bank account, you will have only $316,000, in a very old car at that time. And that's $316,000 less. Is your new car worth that much money? If you start investing your money wisely now, then after 20 years you will be able to save enough to buy yourself the most luxurious car. By delaying the satisfaction of your desires for a while, you allow your money tree to grow in full force. By plucking unripe fruits, you suspend the growth of the tree and significantly increase the period necessary for it to reach full maturity and maximum fertility, which will ensure you a comfortable existence. And in jest, and seriously, maturity comes on the day when we take responsibility for our actions. You are able to bring great benefits to a huge number of people, including yourself. Let's take a look at the money trees grown by some of the most famous billionaires of the last century. You have to agree that they knew a lot about how to raise them. And what did they do with their accumulated wealth over a lifetime? Almost every one of them founded a foundation, or even several that have already outlived them for many years. These funds resemble entire forests of money trees that continue to grow and bear fruit even after their founders have fallen into eternal sleep. In the Encyclopedia World Book, opening the article Foundations, you will find that in the United States alone there are more than 24,000 charitable foundations that annually provide grants to needy groups and organizations in the amount of almost $5 billion. The top 10 largest charitable foundations are as follows. Ford Foundation has assets of $4.8 billion. The annual amount of donations is $170 million. Getty Trust has assets of $3.7 billion. The annual amount of donations is $160 million. Kellogg assets are $3.1 billion. The annual amount of donations is $75 million. MacArthur assets are $2.3 billion. The annual amount of donations is $105 million. Lilition assets are $1.9 billion. The annual amount of donations is $57 million. Johnson Fashion assets are $1.8 billion. The annual amount of donations is $95 million. Rockefeller Fashion assets $1.6 billion. The annual amount of donations is $45 million. Pucher was a trust. Assets are $1.6 billion. The annual amount of donations is $90 million. Mellon FAU assets are $1.5 billion. The annual amount of donations is $67 million. Cress assets are $0.1 billion. The annual amount of donations is $42 million. The Ford Foundation, the Henry Ford Charitable Foundation, was founded in 1936, but many decades later it continued to allocate more than $100 million a year to the benefit of those in need. Whatever your personal attitude to the wealth of the Ford, Rockefeller, or Getty families, you cannot but admit that hundreds of thousands of people, including you, benefit every day from the wealth left to descendants by these great financiers. The fruits of the money trees they have grown continue to be used for the benefit of the whole world. And in jest, and seriously. Money that manure is evenly scattered across the field. So it is necessary to do with money, otherwise they will smell. Paul Getty. You are able to bring great benefits to future generations. Having learned the secrets of the outstanding financiers of all time, you will be able to think about leaving behind a financial legacy that will bring real benefits even after your death. Although the idea of leaving $100 million fortune to descendants is probably far from your current ideas about your own financial prospects. You might prefer to earn an extra $10,000 better this year. Nevertheless, I suggest you imagine what your future charitable foundation could be. Answer the following question. Having achieved your financial goals and lived a long happy life of full prosperity and well-being, how would you like to dispose of your money so that it brings the maximum benefit, in your opinion, to future generations? Viewed from a purely conceptual point of view, money is nothing but the personification of all possible benefits. The power contained in them can be of great benefit. Imagine that your money could be of great help to people in need of support who will live after you. Imagine your own descendants, your own great-great-grandchildren, who will live centuries later. What benefits they could derive from your financial, spiritual, and intellectual heritage. If you don't want to make a fortune for yourself, do it for them. Now let's remember that same dollar bill again. This simple money seed contains the power to bestow grace on you and your countless descendants. But only on condition that you plant it right now. The future is counting on you. A prosperous future is waiting for you to pick it up. It's worth the sacrifice you have to make. Remember, everything starts with a simple monetary unit. I would like to be able to convey to as many people as possible the meaning of what you have just heard in this chapter. Why is this not taught in school? My dream is for people to learn the principles outlined here. Therefore, I even posted the entire text of the chapter on my website and allow anyone to copy it for free. So, if you have a desire to introduce someone else to the ideas outlined here, your family, for example, visit my website at multipolstreamsofincome.com and click on the free chapter link. Now that you have acquired the proper respect for each of the priceless money seeds, about which a lot has been said, let me tell you how to turn them into money trees worth $1 million. Chapter 2: The Path to Wealth, if you wanted to find it, is as simple as the path to the nearest market. The main things in the acquisition of wealth are two qualities: diligence and thrift. This means not wasting either time or money, but on the contrary, using them in the best possible way. Benjamin Franklin. 10 Minutes to 10 Millionaire. From the previous chapter, you learned how easy it would be to actually gain financial freedom. A few dollars a day at compound interest for a long time, anyone can do it. You, for example. But is it so? Will you have enough willpower for this? It's easy to indulge in dreams, but do you have enough perseverance? After all, $1 each every day. There's also the consumer's worldview tempting every second. Buy it. That's what you need right now. Spend, spend, spend. What do successful people do when they hear this eternal siren song, whose name is momentary satisfaction of needs? Successful people use 7 financial secrets. I call them secrets not because only a few of us know about their existence, but because only a few of us actually use them. These secrets are the habits, skills, and habits of handling money that real financiers possess. I am convinced that, having acquired these skills and habits, wealth would pour into your hands as part of numerous streams from the mountain range of inexhaustible prosperity. What more could you want? Money in an amount sufficient to buy anything: houses, cars, trips to resorts, freedom. Surpluses that can be shared with people close to you. Security, peace of mind. That's what these skills and habits will bring you. Throughout this book, I will teach you how, wading through the dense fog of financial information that you perceive visually and audibly every day, to acquire the main habits and skills of handling money that will lead you to financial prosperity. I call them money skills. See Diagram 2.1. The first 3 skills form the basis of all your financial success. Without each of them, none of the other skills will benefit you. If you don't know how to value money, you won't have the desire to manage it. If you can't manage them, you can't save them. If you don't know how to save, you won't see a surplus that could be invested. Not knowing how to invest, you will not be a successful entrepreneur. In this regard, you will not have money that requires financial protection. Without such money, you will have nothing to share with others. You may be tempted not to waste time listening to this chapter, but to go directly to the money chapters. But please be patient. We are at the stage of building the foundation of financial success. For many years, I have been conducting seminars on real estate investments, teaching people how to acquire real estate worth millions of dollars with the help of the most insignificant startup capital. I have found that a certain percentage of people who acquire real estate ownership subsequently find themselves unable to properly manage the income and expenses associated with this property. I remember one of my listeners who was particularly impatient. He did not want to waste time studying basic knowledge in the field of financial management. He wanted to make real money quickly so that he could hire someone to manage it for him. After asking him a number of directed questions, I found out that his personal financial situation was, to put it mildly, shaky. It was an example of a man whose financial affairs are in chaos, who does not have the discipline to balance his checkbook, but who cannot wait to buy a 50-apartment house in order to become rich overnight. If he does not know how to fix his financial situation now, it will not surprise me that he will simply add to his current problems the troubles associated with how to dispose of a 50-apartment house when he has it. He will simply increase his own financial chaos 50-fold. And in jest, and seriously, the direction of movement matters more to you than the speed. Richard Evans in The Mouse Fuss: the bad thing is that even if you come out victorious, you are still a mouse. Lily Tomlin: therefore, regardless of whether you are starting from scratch or your financial affairs are stable enough right now, we will start with dreams and try to learn some sound principles of financial management. After that, we will move on to the next stage in the construction of financial prosperity. I want you to build on a solid foundation of proven financial wisdom. If you are able to dispose of cents, then you can expect that you will be able to dispose of millions, which will soon begin to flock to you. Not knowing how to dispose of the centers, even after receiving the promised millions, you will not be able to save them. As proof, I can refer to the sad experience of lottery winners. If they had followed the ideas outlined here, many of the so-called lottery millionaires, instead of losing everything over time, would be multimillionaires today. After listening to the first chapter, you have learned the first and most important money skill, the ability to appreciate money. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in the world, has 2 rules. First, never allow yourself to lose money. Second, never forget the first rule. Warren hates to allow the slightest loss of money, because he is too well aware of the future value of every dollar wasted. For him, losing $1,000 today means losing several million dollars in the future. The first money skill is appreciate. From the following excerpt, you will learn how billionaire John Davison Rockefeller taught his children to value money. John Rockefeller Jr. was not thinking at all about saving money when he decided to pay allowances to his 5 sons. Here's what his son Nelson tells us: "We got 25 cents a week. We had to earn the rest on our own." In order to earn some money for his needs, he grew vegetables and bred rabbits. "We've always worked," says Nelson. The boys were required to keep personal books of daily accounting of expenses and income. At the same time, they were obliged to donate 10% of their income to charity. Save 10% and fully account for the remainder. Every month they had to balance in their account books and be able to account for every cent they earned. Nelson later became governor of New York State and then vice president of the United States, reaching the peak of his career. One of the brothers, David Rockefeller, tells, "It was a good school for us. Especially in the sense that we have learned to really appreciate money." Interestingly, one would expect that boys who grew up in luxury would not be required to take care of things like accounting. But Rockefeller wanted them to learn to understand the nature of money. He taught them how to manage money, following a specific scheme. A lot of wise conclusions can be drawn for yourself from what he taught his children. The need to work. When you earn money by your own labor, you appreciate it. The importance of giving to charity. Donate 10% to those in need. The need to save money, save 10% for your own future needs. The importance of accounting and handling money. Enter the accounting of each cent. In addition to valuing money, Rockefeller taught his children how to manage their money. And this is the second of the 7 basic money skills. The second money skill is to dispose. The first step to taking full control of your finances is to develop as simple a scheme as possible to streamline your financial life. You may already have something similar. Perhaps you are using some popular computer program like Quicken or Microsoft Money. Anyway, I think you will learn a lot of useful things for yourself by mastering a very simple system, which I call flows and leaks. Most people are content with just one simple stream, the main source of personal income, their salary. It flows into the reservoir of personal wealth. But this reservoir, however, has a number of leaks through which the outflow of funds from a person's personal budget is carried out. Most people live in such a way that they spend every cent they earn and something else to boot. It is obvious that the only way to financial prosperity is to minimize the losses of the money supply, the fault of which are the aforementioned leaks, and to add new streams to the existing income streams, so that a person has the same multiple income streams. It is absolutely necessary to plug the leaks as tightly as possible and at the same time not allow the flow to dry out. How many financial flows do you currently have? How many leaks can you count in your own money tank? See Figure 2.1. First of all, let's consider what leaks are. Then there's the question of how to ensure the full flow of financial flows. I have reduced all the main ways in which you spend your money to 10 categories, or TECs. I have tried to make them simple and extensive. If for some reason you get confused with them, you can use other approaches. However, even with a computer program for financial planning, such as Quicken, you can break down your expenses into the proposed 10 categories. They are easy to remember, and they are listed in order of importance. The first flow, or category, following the Rockefeller model, is called retribution. This category includes your donations to the church, to charity, and the like. This is the number one category. I find it curious that Rockefeller taught his children to give the first 10% of the money they earned to charity. After you have shared the first 10% of your earnings with your silent partner, you have to pay yourself. The next 10% of your money belongs to category number 2, me. In his classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon, George Clason tells the story of a smart investor whose first rule was this: part of what you earn is intended for you as a contribution to your savings. How true it is said. Most of us include in savings a part of what remains. Successful financiers first replenish their savings, after which they live on what remains. The difference between these two approaches is huge. Having given 10% of your income to others in the form of gifts and replenishing your own savings with another 10%, you are faced with a third category of expenses: taxes. See Figure 2.2. After the first three categories, what is the most important expense in your life? The fourth category is the costs of your home in the form of rent, capital repairs, and the like. The fifth category represents household expenses: food, clothing, television, in short, everything that is necessary for a normal existence. This is probably one of the largest categories. Then comes category number 6, transport. Whenever you pay for gasoline for your own car and its maintenance, for a taxi or public transport, you should attribute the corresponding expenses to category number 6. The next is category number 7, leisure and entertainment. It includes the money you spend outside the home on things like movies, McDonald's, travel, computer games, and the like. It is the turn of category number 8, which includes all types of insurance: health, life, disability, civil liability, personal property, real estate, and so on. Expenses related to the category of different, including payments on debt obligations, form the 9th category, different debts. And finally, category number 10, business expenses. As you can see, all your expenses can be reduced to 10 fairly general categories. See Figure 2.3. You spend money only a few times a day. And, nevertheless, the few financial decisions that you have to make in this regard can be strikingly different for those who have achieved financial well-being, and for those who do not. Let's look at the real act of spending money. Let's break down into its component parts a typical financial transaction, or a monetary event. If you independently analyzed ordinary monetary events so that you could succeed. As a hint, study the 2.2 scheme. Successful people demonstrate a peculiar attitude to any monetary event. During a financial transaction, they are concerned, among other things, with performing a number of tasks that some would consider conventions. For this reason, they usually spend a few minutes more time on each monetary event than most. I believe that the mentioned difference in the quality of decisions taken in connection with a financial transaction is precisely due to compliance with a number of additional conditions. That's why I call this kind of attitude to a monetary event a millionaire's minute. You will not be able to entrust this to anyone. The topic of budget planning, savings, and accounting for every cent bores most people. But these skills and the corresponding habits must become part of your life if you hope to ever gain any degree of financial freedom. And I don't need your excuses. No need to say that you are at odds with math or that balancing a checkbook is the most disgusting thing for you to do, that your head doesn't think about numbers, that you never went to college, that you give your wife the opportunity to do this, that you don't have time or that life is short, and you need to enjoy it before it's too late. Most likely, you will be healthy for a long time after you cross the retirement threshold. Therefore, it is necessary to make plans now how to ensure a decent old age. Have you ever come across a cent dropped by someone on the sidewalk, so that you didn't bother to pocket it, because it was just a cent? But the truth is that millions of other cents are hidden in this nondescript cent. Lift it up and let it grow immediately. Make a decision that, starting today, you will no longer live in debt, providing your current level of existence. No, you're going to live worse than you can afford, no matter what it costs. It may take you months to change your spending habits. An oil tanker takes many, many hours and hundreds of miles of travel to make a 180-degree turn. You are akin to this tanker. It will take time before you change your bad financial habits into good ones. So be patient. Would you spend a few extra minutes during any monetary event if you were told that over time it would allow you to achieve financial prosperity? Listen to how people who have everything in order with money approach a monetary event. First, they plan their purchases in advance. As with air tickets, the wider the horizon of your planning, the cheaper the purchase will cost you. The second, they hope to get a discount. They ask and often receive. Third, they hope to receive a receipt, a cash receipt or other document confirming the purchase, ask to provide it to them and always receive it. Fourth, they always study the received receipt for possible errors. Fifth, they immediately write down on the receipt the number of the category to which the expense in question belongs. Sixth, they balance their accounts with the accuracy of an associate professor. Seventh, they file a check with the rest of their financial documents as soon as they get home. On average, when shopping, a millionaire spends a minute or two more than a person with meager funds. In total, this is about 10 minutes a day. But what a saving of time and money is observed at the same time. A millionaire saves from 10 to 20% of his funds by simply making an acquisition, like any other person, but doing it, as they say, wisely. What would you say if you had the opportunity to reduce your total annual expenditure by 20% without any visible sacrifices? Just by taking 1 minute of time when making purchases to record the monetary events that have happened and properly attach the check to your other financial documents, you acquire an extremely valuable source of fiscal information, gain a clear picture about the current state of your accounts. You have the opportunity to compare your current expenses and expenses for the previous month, getting a chance to track spending trends. You are more aware of how much money you are actually spending, which provides stricter control over finances. You find yourself able to calculate your tax prospects in minutes, not hours. You immediately back up your tax calculations with supporting documents. In controversial cases, you know where, on what date and on what you spent your money. And in confirmation of this, you always have at hand a receipt received at the place of purchase. As they say, you have everything under control. And the peace of mind that you gain as a result gives you strength in other matters. Your confidence increases, additional creative and mental energy is released. You acquire a quality that is one of the notorious secrets of millionaires. Starting today, whenever you decide to spend money, pay attention to how to benefit from a millionaire's minute. Think about the upcoming purchase, get a discount, get a receipt in your hands. Examine it for possible errors. Assign the incurred expense to one of the categories. Adjust the balance in your accounts. Attach the receipt to the financial documents. A financially disadvantaged person compared to a financially prosperous person. Financially dysfunctional person. Lack of time and money. A narrow planning horizon, for example, spontaneous shopping. I make an hour fun time. Making purchases at retail price does not take a receipt from the seller, does not assign a category number to the expense, does not file a receipt with financial documents. Financially prosperous person. Plenty of money and free time, a wide planning horizon. Business is time, fun is an hour. Making purchases at a wholesale price. He takes a check from the seller, assigns a category number to the expense, and files the check to the financial documents. Creating your own financial document storage system is very simple. Take 10 folders and number them from 1 to 10. At the end of the day, sort the receipts received for the day according to the category number indicated on them and place each one in the desired folder. If the receipt relates to an economic expense, its place is in folder number 5. If you have spent money on entertainment, file the receipt in folder number 7. To which folder will you refer the receipt received in the garage where your car was serviced, and the expense related to the business you are engaged in? Take it as a habit and soon you will gain full control over your expenses. Why all this trouble? In the first chapter, I told you about the power of compound interest, demonstrating how a daily interest contribution of $1 can turn into a $1 million fortune after a certain time. Practicing the Millionaire's Minute, you will be able to find those very few dollars, from 1 to 10, to realize your investment program. In other words, you have the opportunity to build your prosperity on money that is simply being wasted right now. Most people never pay attention to what we call a Millionaire's Minute, and, accordingly, do not plan their purchases ahead of time. This alone increases their living expenses by at least 10%. In addition, they do not have the habit of taking a receipt with them from the place of purchase. And if they do, he ends up in a wastebasket. At the end of the same year, filling out a tax return turns into hellish work, taking time and additional funds to pay for the services of an economist or accountant, that is, even more lost time and money. What is the real price of that discarded check? Suppose you bought a pen, but instead of throwing away the receipt you received at the time of purchase, you assigned it to the appropriate category and filed it in the appropriate folder. Now you have a document confirming that you have incurred an expense that is excluded from the income taxable amount and relates to the business that you are doing at home. You can deduct this expense from the amount of your income before you calculate the taxes due from you. And what does it mean for you? Immediate refund of 30% of the money you spent. If your income is taxed within the 30% rate, every dollar that you attribute to expenses excluded from the taxable amount brings you a 30% refund. Do you understand? Hello? Where nowadays you can count on an instant, guaranteed refund of 30% of the money you spent. When you receive and save a receipt for the excluded expense, and then you read the last of the taxable amount, you immediately save for yourself 30% of the amount of the expense. Such a return on the money spent is one of the secrets of what turns ordinary people into millionaires. Start today to achieve full control over your finances, finding a Millionaire's Minute for yourself. The results will exceed all your expectations. I have developed a special accounting system that you could use to put your financial accounting in order. I am a money tracker, see Figure 2. I guarantee that by using it for 30 days, you will be amazed at how much more confident you will be in control of your finances. Then you can either continue using this system or return to your previous accounting system. But every 6 months you are recommended to return to the money tracker system for a period of, again, at least 30 days in order to consolidate the acquired skill. The third money skill is to save. The key to successful planning is the management of incoming and outgoing flows. You not only need to get the funds to flow into your tank, but also to cope with leaks so that by the end of the month there is something left in the tank. This balance is an important condition for financial growth. This surplus of funds can be funded. The goal of the money game is to collect enough invested funds so that the profit received from them will provide you with a peaceful existence. In this regard, the third monetary skill is the ability to save excess. See Figure 2.5. The word save has two meanings. The first is to pay less for your purchases. The second is to save, not to let disappear, and also to create a profit from the saved funds by putting them in a savings bank and the like. Some people are good at saving because they like to buy cheaper. But they absolutely fail to save in the second meaning. Rich people are great at both. They love to save money, buy products in bulk, bargain, get discounts. They hate paying the retail price. And now you know why. Every dollar wasted marks a dead forest of future money trees. But they don't stop there. Of course, anyone can save their money by buying at a discount. But does he keep the money he saves? That's the hardest part. A friend of mine quit smoking and boasted to everyone that she had saved $50 a month thanks to this. I asked her, "Where are the $50 you're talking about?" It turned out that she had no idea. She saved the money, that's true, but she didn't save it, that is, she didn't put it in the designated place. When you save any amount, Take out its equivalent from your wallet or wallets so that your wasteful hand does not have the opportunity to touch it. You won't even notice her absence. Get a piggy bank for the saved amounts and deposit them into your savings account more often. Only in this case you really save your money in both values. And in jest, and seriously. If money talks, then I need a hearing aid. Joe Whitley. Let's assume that you always buy gasoline at the same gas station. One day you notice that at another gas station they sell gasoline for 10 cents a gallon cheaper. If you buy 10 gallons, your savings will be $1, but you will really feel the benefits of this only after you take the next step and save this dollar by putting it in a special savings envelope. Keep this envelope, for example, in a duffel pocket, on the inside of the car door, until the accumulated savings amount to $25 to $50. Don't be tempted to spend it. Then you have to transfer them to your long-term savings account, from there to an investment account, and then make your investments. Mutual funds, stocks, bonds, real estate, and so on. You can literally become a millionaire with the funds that you are currently wasting. There are thousands of ways to save money. One popular mutual aid fund has prepared a list of the 50 easiest ways to save $50 a month. You will hear this list, which really deserves attention, at the end of the chapter. However, the two most important ways to accumulate savings are not included in it. The first important way to save money is to expand your planning horizon. When billionaire Paul Getty was asked about the secret of his financial success, he replied, "I'm buying a Panama in the fall." He did not buy Panama in the spring, when it gets hot and Panama hats are in high demand and, accordingly, are sold at a high price. He bought them in the fall, when there is no demand for them and the price, respectively, is lower. Getty adhered to a similar philosophy in relation to any of his acquisitions. Whether oil wells, new companies, real estate, personal planes, or works of art. He had a wholesale mentality. He looked into the future and chose the most favorable time for shopping. I bought when others had no interest, and sold when the demand was great. To learn how to buy and sell profitably, you need to expand your planning horizons. People without income have a spontaneous approach and narrow planning horizons. People with affluence have a systematic approach and broad planning horizons. The better your future is planned, the cheaper life will be. You need to think about how to organize your life, as a successful company does. The average American corporation operates on the basis of a 5-year long-term plan. The planning horizons of a Japanese corporation are on average 150 years. You may not understand how the Japanese can know what will happen in 150 years. They don't need to know. Remember, the future is not what happens when the deadline comes. The future is what you make happen. You need to immediately start expanding your own planning horizons. If your norm plan is drawn up for a week ahead, bring this period to 30 days. If you usually plan a month ahead, then expand the horizon to 3 months. When making plans for the year, plan from now on for 5 years ahead. The further your thought is directed, the cheaper your own existence will cost you. And in jest, and seriously, money saved is the same as money acquired. A Danish proverb. Of course, your well-thought-out plans will almost never come true in exact accordance with your scenario. The goal, however, is not to come out with a ready-made plan, cast, so to speak, in reinforced concrete, but to constantly carry out the planning process itself. I recommend a minimum practical planning horizon of 90 days. Here's how it can happen in practice. Many people spend some time planning their day ahead. It's a wonderful habit. But there is a better way. Instead of just planning things for the day, look at your calendar 90 days ahead and answer the question, how do I ensure that the purchases I need to make within 90 days, starting today, require the least cost? Think about whether you need to buy air tickets during this period. Will any of your friends have a birthday? Maybe it will be necessary to make gifts for another occasion. What about groceries or office supplies? Acquiring such a simple habit can significantly reduce your costs. And ingest, and seriously. A New York bank is now working to ensure that people can buy and sell its shares with the help of special street vending machines. That's great. Now the robbers will have a chance to diversify their own shares. David Letterman's successful financial dealers know how much easier it is to save $1 than to earn. To earn $1 as part of net profit, you need to solve a lot of issues. Hired labor, office work, economic problems, advertising, customers, inventory, taxes, bureaucracy, risk, and so on. It's all complicated. You can save $1 in the blink of an eye by simply eliminating an unjustified expense. Both the saved and earned dollar turns out to be in the same line. And they look exactly the same. However, it is much easier to reduce your expenses than to increase your profit. People without income invariably tend to be a day behind and an extra $1 less. If you are late in business for a day, you will always miss an extra $1. Why? Because procrastination in business is expensive. It forces you to pay retail prices. Organized people feel better financially because they find time to plan their expenses in advance and buy a Panama in the fall. In other words, if you want to learn how to manage your money, then you should, first of all, learn how to manage your time. This is the meaning of the phrase time is money. So, the key to better managing your money is to learn how to manage your time rationally. And the key to managing time rationally is to expand your own planning horizons. The second important way to save money is to perform a plastic surgery. Would you like to know how to reduce your expenses by 20 to 30% in half a minute? Would you like to? Okay, I'll tell you. To do this, withdraw cash from all of your plastic credit cards, with the exception of one. Just in case. But hide this one away, too. Then put all the cash you don't need yet back in the bank. Statistics say that this simple action will automatically and almost without prejudice to you reduce your living expenses by an average of 30% over the next 12 months. Why? Because credit cards provide unhindered access to customer resources. Having lost this access, you will simultaneously get rid of the additional temptation to spend money. As a result, your total expenses will automatically decrease. The money you save, plus the 10% you pay yourself from any income, should be enough to implement your long-term investment program to accumulate $1 million. From talking about money, sow thought reap action, sow action reap habit. If you sow a habit, you reap character. Sow character reap eternal prosperity. David McKay. The secret of financial success is to spend the remaining savings after spending, and not to save the remaining ones after spending. Imagine several pools into which excess money flows from your main storage tank. The first pool should contain your strategic reserve. The place here is primarily with the 10% that you pay yourself. At the same time, it is desirable that at any time the pool contains an amount not less than that which is sufficient to cover your 3-month expenses. You'd be surprised if you knew how many people are separated from homelessness by just one bill payment. Take care not to be among them. The amount in question should be kept in the most secure place, for example, in an insured bank account. At the same time, it is desirable that the interest rate be higher, and that you have guaranteed access to your money for no more than 30 days. After this pool is filled, your own 10% quota of income flows into one of 3 additional pools: conservative, moderately risky, or very risky investments. The older you are, the more money you should put into the pool of conservative investments. The younger you are, the higher the risk you are able to take. Carefully study Figure 2.6, and then move on to the next chapter. Fiscal health. Imagine for a moment that you are a doctor. A patient has come to you for an annual medical examination. You ask him the usual questions, diagnose him using standard therapeutic techniques, and soon you will have a completely clear picture of the patient's state of health. It's time to visit a financial doctor. Instead of medical, let's do fiscal diagnostics. What is fiscal health? This is the ability to manage your money rationally. How well do you keep records of them? Only honestly. Do you manage to provide yourself with an influx of new income? Do you avoid excessive leakage of money from your budget? How are things with your assets? Are you getting into debt? In short, do you manage to earn and save money? Answer the questionnaire questions to find out how well your financial affairs are going. The Fiscal Health Questionnaire is the first question. What is your approximate monthly income? The second question is how stable is it? Evaluate on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is an extremely unstable income, 10 is an extremely reliable income. The third question is how much money do you save monthly? The fourth question is, did you contribute to your pension fund last year? The fifth question. Do you put your checkbook in order at least once a month? The sixth question is, do you categorize and track your expenses during the month? The seventh question. Have you paid overdue bills in the last 90 days? The eighth question. What is the approximate value of your property? The ninth question is, what is the total amount of all your debts? The 10th question is whether your condition exceeds existing debts. The 11th question. What percentage of your debt belongs to investment funds? The value of investment funds tends to rise real estate, stocks, education, and the like. The 12th question. What percentage of your debt belongs to consumer funds? The cost of consumer funds tends to decrease cars, furniture, radio equipment, and the like. The 13th question is whether your credit card debt exceeds 10% of your total debt. The 14th question. Do you have liquid assets equivalent to the amount needed to cover your average 3-month expenses? The 15th question is, do you pay off your credit card debt every month? 50 ways to save $50 a month alone. Make a purchase using the shopping list and never deviate from it. 2. Just say no to the bank machines that require commission. Plan ahead when you will need cash. 3. Does your bank have high fees? Change the bank. 4. Don't let the debt accumulate on your credit card. 5. If debt is unavoidable, look for a card with a lower interest rate. 6. If you need an insurance contract, look for policyholders requesting minimum premiums. 7. When insuring a house or car, strive to achieve maximum deductions. 8. Do you have private mortgage insurance? If the repurchased share of real estate has reached the 20% mark, you no longer need such insurance. 9. Order medicines by mail while undergoing a long course of treatment. 10. Ask your doctor to prescribe you a cheaper medicine. 11. Check medical and hospital bills for possible errors. Many insurance companies offer to reimburse the overpayment. 12. Rent it. Never buy something that you will use only a few times. 13. Turn your backyard into a store, sell unnecessary things. 14. Fly cheap flights and look for those that are even cheaper. 15. Use the bells and whistles of waiting for a connection? Not always. Give up those additional telephone services that you do not need. 16. Contact your friends by email instead of making phone calls. 17. Avoid cinemas, rent cassettes. 18. Do you eat in restaurants? Cook at home more often. 19. Take lunch with you to work. 20. You don't buy this book, you have a subscription to the library. 21. Clear the space in your mailbox. Don't subscribe to magazines you don't read. 22. Go to the parade or go on a picnic. Free entertainment is sometimes the best. 23. Chat with friends in the car. Agree on the joint operation of cars. 24. Be closer to the people, try not to use a taxi. 25. You always buy air tickets in advance. And always spend Saturday wherever you fly. You can have a good time, and it turns out cheaper. 26. Quit attending your health club, prefer the local gym. 27. Premium coupons and double premium coupons. Comments are unnecessary. 28. What do you like about the brand name? Buy something that is no worse. 29. Stop using paper towels, wash ordinary ones. 30. Think before you buy fast food. They are expensive and not very healthy. 31. Become a regular of a small wholesale store. 32. Adhere to the policy of trust, but check with respect to laser barcode readers, and at the same time the receipts received on hand. Mistakes happen. 33. Avoid specialty stores, prices there often bite. 34. For comparison, buy something online. 35. Is there a trunk? Buy as much as you can't carry. 36. Premium grade gasoline for your car? Most of them drive perfectly well without it. Check the user manual if you don't believe it. 37. Forget the words automatic car wash. Wash the car yourself and breathe fresh air. 38. Having decided to change the oil in the car, contact the car mechanics on the corner, not the service center. 39. Never pay extra for after-warranty service or for warranty extension. The manufacturer's warranty is usually sufficient. 40. Give up expensive channels that you don't watch, or give up cable TV altogether. 41. Leave the heater alone. Better put on a sweater. 42. Taking a shower instead of a bath. 43. Turn on the dishwasher only when it is full of dishes. 44. Invite experts to check your home for energy-saving properties. Many companies offer such services for free. 45. Never pay more than necessary for the insurance of a rented car. You may already be protected by your credit card or regular car insurance. 46. Don't play the lottery. The chances of being killed by lightning are higher than the chances of winning. 47. Is it time to refinance the house? Keep an eye on interest rates. 48. First, pay yourself, save $1 a day. 49. Buy yourself a piggy bank for coins that constantly live in your wallet. 50. Don't waste your next pay raise, invest it in something.
Dear listeners, write down what other books you would like to listen to in audio format. Thank you for your likes and comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We wish you all the best.